guys, it's Vara, and today we are going to be talking about how they are cutting ties with the Brawl format that they've been pushing so hard. I'm going to read off to you what they said, and we'll come right back and we'll talk about Brawl and the failure that it has been. As of the release of Guilds of Ravnica next week, the Brawl events, both the two-player queue and the League, will be retired. This isn't a decision we came to lightly. On the contrary, we had very high hopes for Brawl as a format and wanted it to be a success. However, when looking at participation data, it seems that our hopes for the format were too ambitious. The Brawl League had been limping along, and with limited participation, which increases queue times, even the two-player queue sees very little activity. Rather than have Magic Online tell you something that's technically true but difficult in practice, you can play Brawl whenever you want, we're going to be taking down paid event support. The format will still exist and be supported on Magic Online in the same way that multiplayer Commander is. Anyone can begin a Brawl game whenever they like in open play, but people participating will be doing so for the love of the game rather than the prizes they could win. Alright, so after reading that, I have a few thoughts, and I never really talked about Brawl on the channel, and mainly that was because a lot of people didn't like it. This was a format that didn't do well since day one. A lot of people had problems with it because it was essentially a rotating commander. I personally thought it wasn't that bad of an idea. You could get your draft cards, and you could also use your standard cards in a different way rather than playing EDH, and I thought that it was a fairly new and refreshing scene to Magic. But it obviously isn't going well, and it obviously is kind of failing, and not what they expected it to be. They're cutting ties with it. They're no longer doing support for it online, on Magic Arena and Magic Online, and I never really played it that much. I know that a lot of local game stores did not pick up Brawl. They didn't see it as being a format that a lot of people would play, and they were right. They've been really trying to push Brawl since day one, and we've seen a lot of trying to get it to go, trying to get it to fire, a lot of prize support online, people really trying to push it in real life and at big events, but it just never really got there. It felt like a problem that Brawl initially had was bad investment. Now, you could use your standard cards that you had already opened or you were really trying to play with, but overall, if you wanted to play Brawl and buy a full deck for it, it wasn't particularly the best investment. You could just simply play Commander and make a deck. It might not be as competitive because Commander is such a big scene, but you still could get that experience. You could still play majority of standard cards. You could still have that sort of experience as Brawl would be. A lot of people didn't want to buy into Brawl, and I didn't want to buy into Brawl because it was just a rotating commander. Why are you going to invest? Now, people argue, well, if you weren't going to invest in that, why would you ever invest in Standard? Standard, you know, it's a big format by itself. It is supported at all GPs in all big events. You know, Standard is a staple in Magic now. It is the entryway into Magic for a lot of people. And yeah, it's a bad investment for most people. Standard isn't one that a lot of people would recommend or even do if they're new to playing Magic. But I feel like with Brawl, there were already alternatives that you could just simply do. You could play almost the same exact deck, and you could even be better because you could be playing cards with such back history in Commander. I felt like it was already doomed from the beginning because we already had such a great and such a stable alternative to it. I felt like that was really what did it in for a lot of people. Why would they go from playing Commander and investing in Commander to, I'm going to sell off my Commander and I'm just going to play Brawl, even though everything's going to rotate? And realistically, it's going to cost me a lot more money to keep up with Brawl. That was a lot of the problem, is they wanted Commander players to switch from Commander to Brawl, and that was not going to happen. I felt like they really were trying to target a wrong audience. They should have been trying to target the newer player audience. They really should have tried to do that instead of target the Commander audience. That failed pretty miserably for them. It did not go how they expected it to go. A lot of local game stores don't even want to pick up Pauper because they're worried about the lifespan of the format. Even with big people and big names, content creators and wizards really trying to push Pauper. It was the same thing with Brawl. Everyone really tried to push Brawl. But a different thing is that Brawl really didn't have a lot of hype from the beginning. A lot of content creators said, I think Brawl is an awful idea. I think it's a cash grab. I think it's just them trying to sell more packs. And Brawl was kind of pushed from the beginning from Wizards, and people were pushing back at it. People automatically didn't like it at the beginning, and people are really trying to push Pauper because they really like Pauper. I don't think Pauper is going to follow the same fate, it's just going to die out, but I do know that Pauper is in a similar situation because a lot of local game stores do not support Pauper, and they're really trying to push Pauper at bigger events. So I'm wondering what you guys will think about Pauper versus Brawl, if you think that it could suffer the same fate, or if you don't think it will. It's kind of a controversial topic, but what we know right now is that Brawl is losing a lot of the support online, which is to probably follow in paper Magic. Do you guys think that any other formats like Pauper will suffer the same fate as Brawl? Do you think that Brawl was doomed from the beginning like we figured it was? Let me know in the comments below your thought on Brawl and them not supporting it anymore. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you guys again really soon.